Cheryl. I'm here. Good afternoon, everybody. This is All Things Cheryl. I'm here basically, and hey, I'm back after a long weekend with my church. We had a fabulous time. My church is celebrating 35 years of being together, but let's do this. This is All Things Cheryl, here to talk about episode 11, season 2 of Queen Sugar, and the title is Fruits of Flower. Let me just tell you, Ralph Angel and Auntie Vi. And you guys, I don't know, but let's get down with it. We start out with we at Nova's house, and of course Nova's house is looking a mess. One reason why it's looking a mess is because she's getting ready to do she's getting ready to be on television. Her and Robert is getting ready to be on TV, and this is a big thing for Nova. So she asks Charlie to she invites Charlie to come over and to take a look at her wardrobe. One reason why is because Charlie has done this type of thing before being in front of the television. And so Charlie goes through her wardrobe and everything, and she looks at her wardrobe, and Nova pulls up some things out and said, well, how did this look? And basically Charlie tells her, well, you don't want to show too much skin. You don't want to show too much this way, because if you show too much skin on this way, then you're going to think you like this way. So in other words, you have to be kind of conservative when you're basically on national TV. And so Charlie goes through Nova's wardrobe and tell Nova's like, oh, yo, look, you need to you need to go shopping. And then Nova says, oh, what is it? What you trying to say about my wardrobe? And she says, well, I'm not really trying to say anything about you and your wardrobe. Why don't you just go ahead and buy you something to do? Why don't you, shop for something, since, you are going to be on television and everything. So this will be your perfect opportunity to buy something for yourself. So we go on over to Ralph Angel and Darla. Ralph Angel, whoa, there's something about Ralph Angel that he's picking my last nerves. He's really picking my last nerve. One reason he's picking my last nerve is that, okay, here it is. Him and Darla decide that they're really going to go ahead and kind of do this, get some, counseling before this premarital counseling before they, actually decide that they're going to do it. So they'll be able to communicate with each other when they get ready to, when they have disagreements, that they'll be able to, communicate on an even level. And so we find out that they go into the counselor at the church, and we begin to find out a little bit about Darla. Not too much, but just enough to kind of sort of figure out what really is going on with her. And so the councilman, the councilman, he starts to ask questions and everything. So he begins with Darla, and he asks Darla, he says, oh, Darla, when it comes to your parents and everything, exactly how did they go about in communicating? And not only communicating, actually, how was your father and everything? So Darla goes on to say, well, her father was it seems like her father might have been a little controlling addict, like Ralph Angel. Because Ralph Angel is kind of, if you guys look at it, he really wants Darla to do what he wants her to do. It's like, do as I say, not some, how that, that, whatever. And so we find out, and not only that, we find out that Darla's father was kind of sort of, one of those old conservative. The man is the man, and the wife is to, is to do whatever he tells her to do. And I'm like, yo, I ain't for that. And basically, you see, Darla ain't for that. And so she went on and told, the guidance that mother was kind of sort of went along with the program. Whatever the dad say, the mom basically went along with it. And so I can see where Darla is kind of like, she's trying to do the right thing, because I'm thinking the father, and the father was very, very, very controlling. But anyway, then we go on and we find out about Ralph Angel. And it's going to be interesting about Ralph Angel's mother as we go on a little bit more about this. We go on about it, and Ralph Angel he says, look, I really didn't really know my mom, because my mom passed away, when I was like 10. And the only thing that I knew that was every time I looked up, that my mother and father was very affectionate. They were always kissing on each other. And so we find out that Ralph Angel really didn't really know his mother that well, but apparently him and the father was very, they were in love with each other. And so basically we go on and we find out that Auntie Vi is basically in the kitchen trying to, get everything together as far as this huge, advancement for this $50,000 contract she had to bake these 350 pies for, for this chain of grocery stores. And so, basically, Hollywood recognized that there was something going on with Auntie Vi, because her hand was beginning to bother her, and Hollywood noticed that. And then Hollywood made this little sound like, And so Auntie V said, look, ain't nothing wrong with me and everything. And so she gets up and everything and said, yo, come follow me. And Hollywood like, come follow me. And then this is when Auntie Vi said, I'm going to show you exactly, how I'm feeling and everything. So in other words, what she did was, which some people think that sex is everything, and basically sex is not everything. Auntie Vi, you need to get off your horse and basically deal with really going on, and know that you're getting ready to put some serious stress on you with these 300-something pounds, and Hollywood is nosing. But hey, Auntie Vi is throwing sex at him. So hey, man, sex, vagina. So anyway, we'll go on. And we go on over to the mill, or maybe like the park and everything. And we see Charlie, we see Liner, and we see Remy. And what's going on is that Charlie is talking about this festival that she's getting ready to do for the first time, the festival for Queen Sugar, and they're gonna do their own festival, and they're gonna celebrate their own, and I think they're gonna be crowning. She called it the Brown Sugar Queen, something like that. I was like, yo, go ahead, Charlie, do your thing, go ahead. But at the same time, while she was, explaining to her mom and Remy exactly how things was gonna be in certain areas. I guess they were in the mill. We're not quite sure if it was a park or was it the mill on the farm. Now all I know is we saw people walking in the background, so I'm thinking that she probably was maybe renting a park or something. But then this is when Charlie's mother was saying, and yeah, well, all of these ideas and everything that you want to do for this festival, and basically you're the one who's going to be really paying for this. And so Charlie says, well, I want to do this. I want to do this for, I want to do it for the people here. They really haven't had anything like this, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. But then that's when Charlie's mother says, look, you really got to really, think about how you going to bring in extra money, to make sure that you are going to be able to succeed. You do not want to be the first black woman to own a sugar cane, and then to be the first black woman who fails in owning this sugar cane. And so basically I could basically understand what Charlie's mother was talking about, is because you really want to make sure that you can do this, because when you are just getting into something like very new, and they say that the first 7 years and when you're doing a business is really the key, because it'll tell you whether or not if you're going to succeed. It takes 7 years for people, mostly black businesses. Some black businesses fail within that period of 7 years. So Charlie's mother was just basically trying to tell her, look, you really got to figure out exactly, how you are going to bring in some money and think about diversifying, you know, your revenue. So we go on and we find out that, and she tells him that you don't want to mess around and get bankrupt. And so we go on and we find out that Lorna, Michael's grandmother, has met Kiki. And we find out that Kiki, I like the way the writers, I like the way you guys are doing with Kiki. I really like the way you're doing with Kiki. And so we see that Micah and Kiki was sitting there waiting for his grandmother. So his grandmother finally comes in and everything. And so Michael introduced it. But before that, Michael and Kiki was actually looking at a picture of Ernest and his grandmother. And we find out that how Ernest and the grandmother met. They met on this Air Force base, but basically the grandmother was just really there because she needed to work, and that's where she met his grandfather, Ernest. And so we go on and find that Kiki is really, really a woman, a young adult woman who really loves what she's doing, and she's also a little activist too. And not only that, we find out that she loves painting and everything. And we also find out that Kiki is basically saving up money. The reason why she's saving up money is because the grandmother, Lana, my sinus is bothering me. But anyway, we find out that Kiki is saving up money so she could basically go to Spain. And so Michael was basically kind of surprised that, you know, Kiki was also, you know, saving up money. And we find out that she wanted to go to Spain because it's one of her famous artists that she wanted to actually go see and not just kind of look at it on the internet. She really wanted to see him. Then this is where we find out that Michael had been to Spain at the age of 13. One reason why is because the grandmother is filthy rich, or if she's not filthy rich, she's in a position where she could just travel across the world and do everything she wants to. And she took Michael on his 13th birthday to basically go to Spain. But when she was telling Kiki that Michael has basically been to Spain, she kind of sort of was acting kind of, I don't want to say smuggish a little bit, but kind of sort of smuggish a little bit. I wasn't really feeling that. I was like, yo, okay, you ain't gotta spread it and push it. That the fact that Michael has already been, you know, to different countries and everything, you ain't gotta push it. This is a young girl. And plus, you can see the expression on Michael's face. He really wasn't feeling what grandma had done. Guys, let me know about that. What grandma had done is basically kind of, you know, pushed it. He really want Kiki to know that, you know, she, you know, he had been to, you know, other parts of the world. So in the meantime, while Michael is dealing with grandma, Charlie is dealing with her mother. And we look at it and we see that basically Charlie is on a golf course. And her mother has invited Charlie to basically come and golf with her. And so Charlie's mother tells her, say, look, if you want to make a statement or anything, why don't you, you know, become a member of this golf course, this golf club. I basically check to find out whether or not if they have any members, and they're very accepting of black people. If you want to make a statement, why don't you, you know, become a member here. Then at that time, and then we see that Charlie is basically has, you know, apparently gone golfing with the mother before because she does a hole in one and she makes it and everything. And so then that's when we see this tall, white, young looking guy. He wasn't bad looking. He was like a young looking guy and everything. And so that's when Charlie's mother introduced Charlie to, I think his name was Lauren, and come to find out, Lauren was a member of I'm getting blanks, but anyway, come to find out that the brochures, oh man, what is it? Come to find out, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. You know, when you pass 60, you know, you get brain stiff. But it's going to come to me. Well, we find out that Lauren is a part of the Landrians. And they are what they call the Landrians, the black sheep part. We find out that down on that family tree, that he's a part of the Landrian. And not only that, the grandmothers, he's related to the grandmother somehow. But then we go on and find out that he was in that meeting. If anybody paid attention, he was in that meeting. And so we go on and find out that he goes and he talks to Charlie. And he says, I understand that you want to be a part of the club. And that would be good if you come along. But I'm looking for another place to grind my sugar mill. That's when Charlie said, well, you know, you're a member of the Landrians. He says, well, the one reason why I'm basically looking for another place to grind my sugar cane is because they don't want to basically give me a family discount, and I'm looking somewhere else to grind my sugar. And the fact that this young man, this old and young money, has 21 acres of land. 21 acres of land. That's a lot of sugar cane up in there. So basically, he gives Charlie a business card, and he tells Charlie, he says, look, give me a call, and let's get together, and let's talk about what we want to do, whether or not I come over or whatever. And so that's when he walked away. And so that's when Charlie looked at her mother and said, whoa, 21,000, that's a lot of land. 21 acres of land, that's a lot of sugar cane. And you know how Charlie's mother is. Charlie's mother is a businesswoman. Money, green is green. No matter what color it is, green is green. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So in the meantime, we see that Nova has basically taken Charlie's advice to go and do shopping and everything. So while Nova was in the store looking for clothes to kind of figure out what was going on, she couldn't really make up her mind. So one of the salespersons says, look, do you want me to put together some things, and then those things that I put together for you, you can go and decide which ones you basically want. And so and Nova says, okay, well, we could do that. And so in the meantime, we get a phone call. Bang! We get a phone call from Robert. And Robert's on the other line. And Robert said, yo, Nova, I see that you have already registered for the hotel, but I thought you was going to come, over in my direction. And so Nova was kind of like, edgy. She didn't really say too much because she really didn't want to say anything, because before Charlie had, Nova had told Charlie that Robert basically gave her the key to his apartment. And Charlie told Nova to basically take her time when it comes to that key. And then Nova also told Charlie she felt that things was moving kind of fast with her and Robin. And so that's when Charlie told Nova to say, don't let that key be the decisive that whatever you decide, you take your time. And so we go on, and so when Robin, this is one reason why Nova was kind of like acting, kind of standoffish towards Ro. And she was like, look, there's somebody on the other line. And then Robert asked her and said, is there something wrong or anything? She said, no, there's nothing wrong and everything. But really there was, because Nova was kind of like second guessing, she ain't really, because that key symbolized a lot of stuff. And Nova is a free spirit kind of person, and she really don't want to be tied down into a relationship and everything. And remember the conversation that they had last week, both of them was telling them, that, you know, they wanted to do their careers and everything, and marriage was not even in the equation. And so, but it basically threw Noah off key when Robert gave her the key to his apartment. So she basically told, look, I'll call you back later. Let me get back to you. I got something, you know, I need to do. And so we go on and we see that at the golf course, we talked about the golf course and everything. And so we go on. And we see that Hollywood has basically was over at Aunt Vi's house, and we see that Aunt Vi has basically already started to prepare to get ready to do all of these pies and everything. And so Hollywood says, you sure this is what you want to do? It's because basically doctor basically told you to kind of like take it easy and everything. And that's when Auntie Vi said, well, the doctor has just told me exactly it was like fibromyalgia. So we are finding out that what's going on might be fibromyalgia with Auntie V, but we're not quite sure and everything. But here's my little equation with. So she asks Hollywood to take the envelope and basically put it in the mailbox. And so Hollywood said, what is this? She said, this is the contract and everything. She said, I can't keep money waiting and everything. And so he was really wondering about that, you know, about the contract. Now, here's the deal. I don't know whether or not Charlie got a chance to see that contract because remember, each time that Charlie would, each time that Auntie V would go and try to see Charlie to get her to look at this contract and everything, Charlie was nowhere around. So we don't know whether or not if Charlie gave the okay on that contract for Auntie Vi to sign. And apparently she's kind of like, I believe she's jumping the gun, y'all. She's jumping the gun with this contract. And I'm hoping that this contract does not have a stipulation or a loophole in it, being to the fact that Auntie V, when it comes to business, she's pretty good with baking stuff. But as far as the business aspect of understanding the contract, what's in the contract, and not get burnt, I believe Auntie Vi is going to get burnt with these daggone 350 pies. But it's basically going to be too late because she's already signed that contract. And I'm hoping, and see, they gave her a $50,000 advance. And it's almost, so you got to be careful with contracts. And when they give you $50,000, when they give you advancements, you got to be careful when white people or any kind of people give you advance in any kind of deal. And if you got to come through with it, once you sign that dotted line, it's a done deal. And I'm just hoping that this contract is not going to come back and bite Auntie V in the buns. So, in the meantime, Hollywood tells Auntie Vi, because we're still in the kitchen, Hollywood tells Auntie Vi, along with these pies, is basically you have cashed the check and it ain't even, the ink ain't even dry. So Hollywood also tells Auntie Vi, she says, look, I have a friend and everything, and I basically have invited, you know, my friend over to watch the football game. Do you mind? And so Auntie Vi says, nah, I don't mind. And we're going to get into she did mind. And you're going to find out. We're going to go into it. And so we go on and we find out that excuse me, I gotta read my notes and everything. I'm trying to, try to be thorough. We go on and find out that Auntie Vi and Charlie's mother had collapsed and ran into each other again. And she Lorna tells Auntie tells Auntie Vi that she really misses her husband and Clarence. She really misses Clarence, and so Auntie Vi says, yeah, she misses too. Just seeing, seeing Laura and her reminds her of him. And so we go on and we find out that Nova runs into Charlie's mother, and come to find out that Charlie had no idea that she was basically in town and everything. And the reason why Noah went over to Charlie's is because she had the outfits that the lady at the shop had picked out, and she wanted Charlie to figure out which one would work well with her. But it was so intense because this was some interesting scene. And the reason why I said it was very, very interesting, and plus it was also moving, we really find out that Charlie's wife, Lauren, and Nova's father was really, really in love with each other. And we find out that Nova's father had already been separated from Nova's mother. And the reason why is that Lauren really said that when she met Nova's mother or father, that he was already separated from his wife, and that he wanted to marry Nova's mother, but Nova's mother was a free spirit person, just like Nova was. And that we find out that Nova's father found out that Nova's mother was pregnant with Nova. And when he found out that Nova's mother was pregnant with her, that's when he left Charlie's mother for Nova's mother, because that's when he found out that she was pregnant. But Nova's mother pushed away Charlie's father. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't know what's going on with my memory right now, guys. So that's why I'm saying the mother and father, so y'all can pretty much figure, who I'm talking about. And that he was a traditional man. And we find out that Nova's mother was more so like Nova was, a free spirit person, didn't really want to be bogged down, basically wanted to kind of sort of do her thing and everything, just the way Nova is. And we're going to see some correlation between Robert and Noah, Dr. Robert. And we find out when because Charlie, Nova, and Charlie's mother was there, and you could see the expression on their face. And Nova was like really, really surprised as to, the information that she was, finding out about her mother. And the reason why Nova had this idea about Charlie's mother, because it was coming from Auntie Vi. Auntie Vi had her biases, and we're gonna find out why it's gonna come together. And so this is when Lauren Charlie's mother told Nova and Charlie that she really admired Nova's mother, because Nova's mother told her to go back and to let him go back to Nova's mother. And that at that time, then that's when Charlie came along. And so I was like, yo. So, in other words, all of this idea that Nova had developed about Charlie's mother was all bogus. Wasn't really this. It wasn't the woman. It wasn't Charlie's mother. It was what Auntie Vi has basically had planted inside of Nova's head when it came to her father. And so we go on and we see that Aunt Vi is basically hanging out in Nova's apartment, and Nova had put together some herb, and she put together a joint and everything, and she basically told Auntie Vi to take a bath and kind of chill out and soak and kind of calm down, with this fibromyalgia things that she got going. And so that's when Nova had Auntie Vi right in the position that she wanted her in. And Nova asked her, and she says, what really happened with my mom and my father? What really went down with them? And then that's when you can see that Auntie Vi was kind of getting kind of wiggly and everything. She kept saying, it's kind of complicated. It's really kind of complicated. And this is when we're going to find out the type of person that, Auntie Vi is. And how the reason why racism is legally the way it is. And so Auntie Vi finally tells Nova that her father really loved her mother, and that her mother was the one who turned down her father when it came to marriage, and that he was traditional and the mother was a free spirit, and she basically didn't really want to marry her father. And this is when Nova beginning to put things together and beginning to find out the reason why there are certain things within her characteristic that she does, and it was developed from wounds of the past of the mother and the father not really telling the truth, told the truth, but Auntie Vi made it seem that the father jumped boat, and really he didn't. And we find out that Nova and her father was very in love with each other. And when found out that she was pregnant with Ralph Angel, that's when he married her mother. And so we go on and we find out that Auntie Vi comes back with Hollywood. And so Hollywood, I think his name is William. So William in Hollywood was at Auntie Vi's apartment, a house, and Auntie Vi came in, and Auntie Vi kind of stopped in her tracks. And the reason why it stopped in the tracks is because Auntie Vi saw that the friend that Hollywood was talking about was a white dude. And the white dude was basically in her house. And she began to be very irritated. And so she didn't really say anything, but you could tell her body language basically told everything. And so William finally left and everything. And so that's when Hollywood and Andy Vi got into it a little bit. And Hollywood said, well, what's up? What's going on? And Andy Vi said, well, I knew that you said you were going to have company and everything, but I didn't realize that there was going to be a white person in my house. And that's when Hollywood was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And then that's when everybody told Hollywood, he said, that's the difference between old and new. Old school and new school. I was like, yo, Andy Vi. So we're finding out that you don't like white people. You don't like white people in your house. And the reason why that you didn't like Charlie's mother is because Charlie's mother is white. And so Nova's mom was team mom, for Nova's mother. And so we find out that Hollywood was like really, really disappointed at the fact that the woman who he has been dating has these particular issues when it comes to certain race, which he did not know, which I was pretty shocked at. I was like, oh, so Andy Vi is and we all, let's be real with this. Let's be real with this. With all of the stuff that's going on today, all of us have some sense of bias, some sense of, not really, trying to be, pro this and pro that. That we have biases. We do. And that's what Queen Sugar is really hitting all these key points. And we find out that Aunt Vi has biases. She don't like white people, period. She don't like white people. But here's the deal. She just signed a $50,000 advancement, and this is a white man. And we're going to find out what went down with this. And so we go on, and we see that the councilman, when they were going to go see a counselor, and the counselor gave Darla and Ralph Angel some homework to do. But we go on. It's going to be a little long, guys, so I'm just going to go ahead. It's going to be long because it's going to be a little long. So we go on. We see that Ralph Angel has basically enrolled in school to take a course in agriculture, and Remy is basically teaching the course. And we see that Remy had basically asked the question about, what happens to the soil or something. And so basically Ralph Angel knew the answer and everything, but Ralph Angel didn't say it out loud. He kind of sort of mumbled it a little bit underneath his breath. And this white woman, and the white woman, keep your eyes in front. Don't even think about that one. Don't even think about the chocolate. Just keep your eyes off of it. Write that out. But anyway, she said, and so Remy asked her, and she basically heard what Ralph Angel had said, so she said it. And so Remy wanted her to, to elaborate a little bit more on it. And so she said, well, really, I really don't know anything about it. I only repeated it because that's what he said. And so Remy went in on Ralph Angel and asked Ralph Angel, okay, well, after you find out that something has went on with a particular soil, then what do you do? And so that's when Ralph Angel said something, because really, when it comes to literary, when it comes to book knowledge and everything, really, Ralph Angel really is not there. But in order for him to operate this farm successfully, he needs to be able to think critical. He needs to be able, because I remember when I was in school and I enrolled in Economics 101, And when you're dealing with that, they want you to think critical. They want you to, to think logic, to think, come up with a solution. Why did this particular problem happen? But Ralph Angel, back into his feeling again, thought that Remy was basically picking on him. Wasn't picking on him. He wanted him to think critical. And so when the class ended, Ralph Angel went in on Remy and said, well, why did you basically embarrass me? And Remy said, I ain't embarrassed you. I'm just trying to get you to think critical. And so Ralph Angel said, oh, now I see you are Mr. Know-It-All. He said, I now see why you and my sister are together. Y'all just like know-it-alls. I was like, whoa, you got some serious issue, Ralph Angel. You really got some serious issue, and you need to really go check that out. You need to go check that out. So later on, we find out that Ralph Angel and Darla goes to the restaurant, and Remy runs into Darla and tell Darla exactly what was going on with the class and everything. And then he tells Darla, look, I'm going to go and try to talk to him and everything, because he's kind of so upset. And so Remy says, went over and says, look, Ralph Angel, come on, let me talk to you. I need to talk to you for a minute. So Remy says, look, I basically want to apologize, but that was not my intent. My intent is to get you to think critical. When you are doing this agriculture, and when you're doing this farm, you are going to need this information. You are going to have to know how to run this farm. And he told Ralph Angel, Remy is like, Remy, when it comes to thinking, Remy is really the man. And so he tells her, he says, look, you got a lot of stuff going on with you. He said, I'm going to be there for you. If you need help, I'm going to be there for you. I'm there for you. And so that's when Remy, they kind of like hugged each other. So in the meantime, we see that, I might have left something out, but in the meantime, we see Nova. I'm coming to the end, guys. And in the meantime, we see Nova. And Nova, this was a very, this dialogue with Robert and Noah was, and Nova was very moving. I mean, it put a smile on my face, and at the same time, I kind of got emotional about it, because Nova was at the apartment of Robert. She was in Atlanta, so she came in and she went to Robert's apartment, and Robert saw her, and Robert was kind of, surprised to see her. And Nova said, look, I basically need to apologize with you, because I was kind of like putting you off and everything, but I have found out some information about certain things, and I don't want to, in other words, what she was trying to tell Robert is that I don't want to pass this opportunity, what could be, by my inconsistencies with dealing with relationships. And she went on and she said a little bit more, and they embraced each other and everything, and that's when it ended. Now, I might have missed some stuff. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know, for some reason I was having brain fog today. But that was a very, very beautiful episode of Queen Sugar. And I'm going to say like, subscribe, share, and be a part of my development. In the meantime, till next week, ciao. It's a little long, but hopefully you'll get the information. Take care.